I am 84 years old. For over 5 decades, I sat across the table from some of the wealthiest people in this country. I helped them protect their money. I helped them grow it. I helped them pass it on to people they loved. I was good at my job. People trusted me with their life savings. They trusted me with their future. And for a long time, I believed that was enough. I believed that if I could help others build something lasting, I was living a life that mattered. I was wrong. Because here is what no one tells you when you spend your whole life chasing financial security. Money is very, very good at hiding things. It hides emptiness. It hides distance. It hides the years you were physically present, but completely gone. And by the time the money could no longer hide what was beneath it, it was too late. I thought I had time. I kept telling myself, next year, I will slow down. Next year, I will be more present. Next year, I will say the things I should have said years ago. Later never came. Not the way I imagined it. I am 84 years old. My hands shake now when I pour my morning coffee. The house I worked 40 years to pay off is quiet in a way that used to feel like peace. It no longer feels like peace. And if you are watching this, if you are somewhere in the middle of your life, building, climbing, sacrificing, I need you to stop for just a few minutes. Because the mistake I made was not financial. It was something much harder to recover from. And I have never spoken about it publicly. Not once in 53 years, until now. I grew up with nothing, and I mean that in the most literal sense. My father worked at a factory, 6 days a week. He came home smelling of oil and metal, ate whatever my mother had prepared, and fell asleep in his chair before 8 o'clock. He never complained, not once, and I watched him. Every single day I watched him, and I made myself a promise, a quiet, fierce, burning promise, that my life would look different. So I studied, I worked, I clawed my way into a profession that felt, at the time, like arriving somewhere. By the time I was 32, I had a beautiful wife, 2 children, a boy and a girl, a home in a good neighborhood, a car that actually started every morning. I remember standing in the driveway one Sunday, looking at that house and thinking, I did it, and I had. By every measurable standard, I had done exactly what I set out to do. But here is the thing about measurable standards. They only measure what you can count. They do not measure the dinners you missed. They do not measure the school plays you watched from the back of the room because you arrived late and left early. They do not measure the number of times your daughter called out for you in the night, and it was always, always her mother who went. I told myself I was doing it for them. That is what I told myself. Every early morning, every late night, every weekend spent on the phone with clients who needed reassurance about markets that would recover whether I worried about them or not. I told myself, this is love. Providing is love. And maybe it is in part, but it is not the whole of it. My son, Daniel, he was 8 years old when he asked me something I have never forgotten. We were in the garden on a Saturday afternoon, one of the rare Saturdays I was home. He looked up at me and said, Dad, do you like being with us? Not, do you love us? Do you like being with us? I laughed. I told him of course I did. I ruffled his hair and went back inside to take a phone call. I have thought about that question almost every day for the last 50 years, because a child does not ask that question unless something in them already suspects the answer. And the truth I could not face then, was that I did not know how to simply be somewhere without also building something. I did not know how to sit in a moment without calculating its value. I had trained myself so completely to think in terms of returns and investments and future outcomes that I had accidentally applied that same logic to the people I loved most. And none of them knew, because the house was beautiful. The holidays were paid for. The school fees never once went unpaid. Wealth has a way of making neglect look like provision. And I was very, very good at being wealthy. My wife's name was Eleanor. She used to wake up before everyone else in the house. I would sometimes hear her in the kitchen, the quiet sound of a cup being placed on the counter, the soft movement of someone who had learned over decades not to disturb the people around her. She was like that, careful, gentle, quietly holding everything together while I was busy holding everything up. We were married for 51 years, and somewhere around year 30, I stopped seeing her. not physically. We were in the same house, same table, same bed, but I had stopped truly looking at her, stopped asking how she was, and waiting long enough to actually hear the answer. Stopped noticing the small things she did every single day that kept our life from falling apart. I thought she was fine. She seemed fine, but I was not paying attention. And there is a profound difference between someone being fine and someone simply learning to exist quietly inside a life that no longer fully includes them. In the spring of 2009, Eleanor was diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's. The doctor explained what it meant, the progression, the timeline, what to expect in the years ahead. I sat in that office, and I listened carefully, the way I had always listened to important information, analytically, practically, already thinking about next steps. And then we got in the car, and Eleanor turned to me, and she said very quietly, "I'm scared I'm going to forget you." And something broke open in me, not cracked, not bent, broke open, because in that moment, in that single devastating sentence, I understood something I had spent 50 years avoiding. She was not scared of the disease. She was scared of losing the version of me she had held on to, the version she had waited for, the version she believed was still inside the man who came home late and left early and always had somewhere else to be. She had spent 50 years loving a man who was always half somewhere else, and now, at the end, she was terrified of losing even that half. I could not speak. I held her hand in that car, and I could not speak. And every excuse I had ever made, every justified late night, every necessary weekend call, every future plan I had traded the present for, collapsed. Just collapsed. I thought I had time. I had been thinking that for 30 years. Later never came, and now she was sitting beside me, scared of forgetting a man she had every right to be angry at, and instead she was just scared. That is who Eleanor was. That is who I did not deserve. Over the next 4 years, I watched the disease take her slowly, piece by piece, memory by memory. And here is what I can tell you about those 4 years. They were the most present I had ever been in my entire life. I was finally there, fully there, every morning, every meal, every confused and frightened and tender moment. And she would sometimes look at me, in the early stages when she still knew who I was, and she would smile in a way that felt like forgiveness I had not earned. I would have given every account I ever managed, every commission, every award on every wall. I would have given all of it for 30 more years of being that present. I was wrong about what mattered. I was wrong for a very long time. I want to tell you something that took me 80 years to understand, and I need you to hear it, not as a story about me, but as a mirror held up to wherever you are right now. We are taught from the very beginning that success is something you build. You build your career, you build your wealth, you build your reputation, you build your future, and the world rewards you for building. It celebrates you for it. It gives you titles and numbers and square footage and the kind of respect that feels, for a long time, like it means something. So you build, and while you are building, you tell yourself that the people who love you understand, that they are proud of you, that they are benefiting from everything you are constructing on their behalf. And some of that is true, but here is what is also true. A child does not want a better bedroom. They want you on the floor beside them. A spouse does not want a better holiday. They want you across the table, actually there, actually listening, actually present in the only moment that has ever existed, which is this one, right now, not next year, not after the promotion, not when things settle down. Things do not settle down. I have watched hundreds of people plan for a future that never arrived the way they imagined. People who saved carefully and invested wisely and built genuine security and then got sick or lost someone or woke up one morning in a quiet house wondering where the years went. I thought financial security was the foundation. I was wrong. Financial security is a roof. It keeps the rain out. It matters. I am not telling you it does not matter, but you cannot live on a roof. You live on the ground floor, where the people are, where the noise is, where the mess is, where the ordinary, unremarkable, irreplaceable moments happen, the ones you will search for desperately at the end of your life, and find that you were too busy to save them. I saved everything else. I saved percentages and portfolios and 30 years of careful, disciplined, intelligent financial decisions. And I forgot to save Tuesday evenings. I forgot to save the slow Saturday mornings, the unplanned conversations, the moments that had no agenda and no outcome and no measurable return. Those were the investments that actually compounded, and I let them expire. Here is the belief I carried for most of my life. Providing for someone is the same as being there for them. It is not. Providing is important, but presence is irreplaceable. You can hire someone to provide almost anything. You cannot hire someone to be your father. You cannot hire someone to be your husband. You cannot hire someone to sit beside the person you love when they are frightened and make them feel less alone. That is yours to give, and it is only yours for a limited time. I thought I had time. Every single person who has ever lost someone they loved, every single one, will tell you the same thing. They thought they had time. We all think we have time. It is perhaps the most expensive mistake a human being can make. And unlike financial mistakes, there is no recovery strategy. There is no restructured portfolio. There is no second chance to go back to the morning your son asked if you liked being with him. And this time, put down the phone. It is gone. And you carry it. You carry it at 84 years old, sitting in a quiet house, pouring a shaking cup of coffee. Finally, understanding what the whole thing was actually for. It was for them. It was always for them. And they needed you more than they ever needed what you built. I am not telling you this because I want your sympathy. I do not want sympathy. I am telling you this because I can see something from where I am standing at the very end of a very long road that you cannot yet see from where you are. And if there is even one person watching this who is in the middle of their life right now, building, grinding, sacrificing, postponing, then these next few minutes may be the most important thing you hear this year. So please, listen carefully. You are not going to remember the deal you closed this week. You are not going to remember the number in your account on this particular Tuesday. You are not going to remember the meeting that felt so urgent you missed dinner again, but your children will remember whether you showed up. Your partner will remember whether you were truly there or just physically present while mentally somewhere else entirely. And you will remember it all with a clarity that will surprise you at an age when there is nothing left to do but remember. I thought I was building a life. I was building an absence, a beautifully financed, carefully constructed, professionally admired absence. And the people I loved most learned to live around it. They adjusted. They lowered their expectations quietly, the way people do when they love someone who is always just slightly out of reach. They never complained. Not really. And that somehow made it worse. Because it would have been easier, perhaps, if they had been angry, if they had demanded more, if they had forced me to stop and look at what I was doing. But they loved me. And love, sometimes, is patient in ways that allow you to keep making the same mistake for decades. Do not wait for the people you love to break before you pay attention. Do not wait for a diagnosis. Do not wait for a loss. Do not wait for the kind of moment that tears something open inside you and shows you, all at once, everything you chose not to see. I waited. I thought I had time. Later never came. And now I sit with the version of my life that I built. And I am grateful for parts of it, truly, but I am haunted by the parts I cannot go back and rebuild. Daniel lives 3 hours away now. He calls on Sundays. We talk for 20, maybe 30 minutes. He is a good man, a good father. He is present with his children in ways I never was with him. I watch him sometimes when I visit, and I feel two things simultaneously, pride and grief, because I see what I missed. I see it clearly. In every moment he gives to his children that I did not give to him. He learned presence the hard way, by growing up without enough of it. So this is what I want to leave you with. Not a financial strategy, not a lesson about markets or money or planning for the future. Just this: go home tonight and be there. Actually be there. Put the phone down, not in your pocket, down. Look at the people who have chosen to share their lives with you, who wake up in your house and eat at your table and call you by the names that matter most, and understand in whatever way you can, that this is it. This is the whole thing, not the destination you are driving toward. This, right here, right now. The noise, the mess, the ordinary Tuesday evening that feels like nothing. That is everything. I know that now. I wish I had known it at 32, standing in my driveway, thinking I had finally arrived. I had arrived. I just walked straight past the door that mattered most. Don't make my mistake. You still have time. But time, as I have learnt more painfully than I can express, does not wait for you to be ready. It simply passes. And one morning, you will pour your coffee with shaking hands in a quiet house, and you will finally understand what it was all for. Do not let that morning be the first time you truly knew